now begin.
As delegate of Sweden, Sweden congratulates on the chair selections of its position for this conference. He would also like to express deep gratitude to the chair, members of the secretariat, and the various national delegates for their efforts that made this conference possible. Nuclear power has been exposed as a dangerous military force for decades since the 19th century. It now has been made public since the Declaration on Atomic Energy Use for Peace at the UN General Assembly in 1953. Use of nuclear energy was not originally related to nuclear security. However, awareness of the danger of nuclear power has internationally increased as vulnerabilities of nuclear facilities are being exposed with the Chernobyl nuclear accident and the Great East Japan earthquake in 2011. This is why international discussion, such as the one this committee is having today, is becoming more important. Today, just as economically advanced economies discourage industrial development to developing economies for environmental reasons, first world nations that have strong nuclear power infrastructure are requesting that nations without nuclear power to limit both development as well as the nuclear energy. In addition, the superpowers seek the ways to get economic and political benefit from nuclear war with nuclear weapons that cause fatal damage to humanity. The peaceful use and the development of nuclear energy is not happening, so this delegate suggests that it is time to restrict the use of nuclear weapons and create an effective system for disposal of radioactive material. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Sweden. You may now be seated. Next, Delegate of Saudi Arabia, please approach the podium. You may now begin.
First of all, the Saudi Arabian delegation would like to express its infinite honor and sincere congratulations to the chair on being elected for the position. This delegate is committed to working with chair to ensure successful hosting of this conference. There are many reasons for why nuclear energy became so widespread. The main reason is fossil fuels and their subsequent pollution. The international society, in an attempt to move away from harmful greenhouse gases and non-renewable energy, started to use nuclear energy. However, it is evident that in this current stage, nuclear energy is unreliable and dangerous. In addition, with the beginning of the era of Cold War after World War II, nuclear development through nuclear energy is becoming an important issue. There are a lot of countries that are still in a state of military tension, and some are using nuclear energy to develop nuclear weapons. Thus, the world has established the IAEA for International Common Management and research for feasible use of nuclear energy and conclude NPT Treaty for the development of nuclear weapons. Nevertheless, the problem of peaceful use and development of nuclear energy is consistently raised. The issue of nuclear energy, which is closely linked to military security, environmental pollution, and safety accidents in each country, is not confined to one country. We are here today to seek international cooperation for peaceful use and development of nuclear energy. Thus, Saudi Arabia has decided that peaceful and reasonable policies are needed on the issue of energy shortage and nuclear energy. However, there are countries that are acting against the peaceful use of nuclear energy for national interest. Nevertheless, it's important to recognize that the nuclear energy is something that needs to be discussed on global scale, and ignoring its dangers for benefit could be detrimental. This delegate has been making continuous efforts for peaceful use and development of nuclear energy by establishing the Nuclear Regulatory Authority, SAARA, which is designed to start efforts of safety and regulation of nuclear energy. In addition, this delegate has joined the NPT, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and the IAEA, which the International Atomic Energy Agency. However, not only Iran, which is in conflict with its own country, but also India, Israel, and many other countries have used nuclear power to develop and test nuclear weapons by exploiting loopholes in the treaty. The reason they have not fulfilled their obligation is that the NPT standards are so ambiguous. For peaceful use of nuclear energy, he asked for the NPT treaty be strengthened and the countries monitored thoroughly. This delegate would like to add more specific clauses to NPT, closing up any loopholes, and also requested for Saudi Arabia's state transition into nuclear energy, first world countries to provide financial and technical aid. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Saudi Arabia. You may be seated. Next, Delegate of Germany, please approach the podium. You may now begin.
To begin with, the delegates of Germany would like to congratulate the chair for his position and have no doubt that the conference will be fruitful and relevant to his outstanding leadership. Furthermore, these delegates will share as many practical solutions to the nuclear energy issue while appreciating all the other representatives' bias. In 2011, 789 casualties were caused due to nuclear power plant failure in Fukushima. In 1986, more than 100 million casualties happened in Chernobyl because of the nuclear explosion. Professionals insist that the detrimental consequences from nuclear energy are identical to the aftermath of war. Exposing a small amount of radioactive substance to the environment is not acceptable since its penetration into human bodies results in a catastrophic impact. Another critical flaw of a nuclear power plant is immortality. Some people accentuate how safe it is, but they undermine the responsibility towards constructing and processing the power plant. People tend to build it in underdeveloped regions instead of population-concentrated cities. These delegates substantially believe that the international regulation should be enacted in order to peacefully utilize nuclear power. It can be surveilling corporations and establishing global organizations that prohibit or abolish the nuclear energy. Since the punishments should consider the financial status of the developing nations, they should be strict penalties unrelated to an economic condition, such as suspension. Moreover, these delegates contend that the nuclear plant must be owned by the world as a whole instead of individual countries based on the land mass or population. This will systematically organize the generator, increasing the efficiency. There is no country who owns the nuclear energy yet. Due to the freedom of agreement, people can abuse the power on a relevant purpose for the means of war. Everyone should be acknowledged with the treaty and the possible consequences followed when a violation occurs. It is a time the world requires for improved rules and the rise of new global communities that can control the disturbance of nuclear energy on the planet. As Ikeuchi Satoru mentioned, The technology should be only applied when humans thoroughly face the subject by being aware of its precautions at its inevitable limit. Delegates of Germany highly reiterate the establishment of a common level regulation and organization. Further nuclear plants will be an alternative solution to the issue of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Germany. You may be seated. Next, Delegate of Russia, please approach the podium. You may now begin.
Прежде чем говорить, я хотел бы поздравить всех вас, которые были избраны председателем и представителями каждой страны. Я также хотел бы поздравить секретариат за то, что он разрешил мне провести это заседание. Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые делегаты со всего мира, поскольку ядерная энергия является самой экологической и чистой и экономичной по сравнению с другими энергогенераторами, эта энергия используется во многих странах. 2011 года, после ядерной аварии в Фукусиме, было осмотрено снижение производства ядерной энергии. После этого тенденция начала постоянно восстанавливаться. В нашей стране эксплуатируется всего 35 реакторов и строится 7 новых реакторов. Наша страна по ядерной энергии сотрудничает с такими странами, как Шри-Ланка, Аргентина, Республика Конго, Индия, Бангладеш, Китай, Узбекистан, Южная Африка, Судан, Эфиопия и другие. А также с Российской ядерной корпорацией, где Росатом подписал меморандум о взаимосвязи организаций за рубежом, которые связаны с ядерным оружием. А также наша страна с помощью академика Ломоносова представлены Росатомом для того, чтобы поставить электроэнергию и отопление в отдаленные районы Арктики. 28 апреля из Санкт-Петербурга отправили верфь, а 17 мая он прибыл в Мурманск. Затем план состоит из того, что 2019 года летом отбытие из Мурманска и прибытие в северный российский город Сибирь на Пепельский полк. Но об этой атомной электростанции Гринпис и антиядерные активисты дали критику, сказав, что это плавающий Чернобыль. Чернобыльская катастрофа 1986 года была обнаружена утечкой радиации, самой большой причиной которой были чрезмерные эксперименты, что было ошибкой из-за ущерба, нанесенного 4 деревням в их стране. Затем из-за полученного ущерба произошла миграция. Уважаемый председатель, Государственная академия Ломоносова – это морская атомная электростанция. И самый большой плюс этой электростанции – прежде всего безопасность. С 1950 года наша страна и Соединенные Штаты использовались военно-морскими лодками и водолодками. Плюс этой электростанции – прежде всего безопасность. Благодаря технологии безопасность была доказана. Авария атомной электростанции Фукусима, вызванная цунами, заставила землетрясение замедлиться на мелководье. И в этом состоянии началось огромное цунами с наложенными волнами. Другими словами, цунами является огромной мощностью на суше, но в море не связаны с проблемой. Кроме того, в проблеме снабжения охлаждающей водой, которая является причиной аварии Фукусимы, нет проблем, потому что электростанция находится посреди моря. Цена единицы производства электроэнергии может быть сокращена до 1/3 земельного производства. Также можно без изменения формы атомной электростанции через определение участка, если вы получили заказ, то можете построить его прямо на верфи. Таким образом, это не проблема, а скорее всего увеличение объема производства для обеспечения безопасности и экономии. Она сможет продолжить развитие и способствие глобальному развитию. Кроме того, важные вопросы, обсуждавшиеся на 4 саммитах по вопросам физической ядерной безопасности, не являются политическими. Чтобы быть убедительными и плодотворными дебатами, они были преобразованы в Международную конференцию по ядерной безопасности. Это положение полностью соглашено. Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые делегаты со всего мира! На этот раз была внедрена первая атомная электростанция, но применялась морская технология, разработанная с 1950-х годов. Поэтому, если не делать чрезмерных экспериментов или глупых ошибок, подобных предыдущим, тогда больше не будет катастроф. Если мы воспользуемся водной атомной электростанцией, которая будет коммерциализирована с потенциалом для будущих технологий в области безопасности и экономии, наше общество сможет добиться дальнейшего прогресса. Еще я надеюсь, что Международная конференция Международного агентства по атомной энергии, по ядерной безопасности может быть сохранена. Председатель, который собрал представителей каждой страны для международного развития, большое вам спасибо за ваши усилия. Спасибо президенту и делегатам со всего мира.
Thank you, Delegate of Russia. You may be seated. Next, Delegate of United Kingdom, please approach the podium. You may now begin.
Thank you all for attending the third UN General Assembly. Prior to announcing the speech, the UK's delegation sent a sincere congratulations as well as an unlimited honor to the elected chairman and his delegation. This delegate is confident that the meeting will bring a great success with outstanding leadership, experience, and knowledge. Also, UK shows tribute to the delegation of many nations, including the chairman, who warmly welcomed our delegation and made every effort to hold this meeting. On behalf of the United Kingdom, the ambassador assures that UK will participate in the agenda and will come to a good conclusion at this meeting. Nuclear energies or energies released from nuclear reactions, such as fission and fusion. Nuclear weapons have been used in the past and it is still possessed by many countries. It is undoubtedly that use of nuclear energy is one of the most significant issues regarding the world security. There are already countries that possess nuclear weapons, and it is important to prevent any more weapons from being made. However, when countries stop developing nuclear weapons, the nuclear facilities which were doing the job would go to waste. This is why the UK hopes to find a solution to the problems listed above during this assembly. The United Kingdom has not conducted weapon-related experiments for a certain amount of time since 1991, and the UK is planning to be one of the earliest countries to reduce the ones which have already been made. A lot of nuclear plants have already been made, and actually taking those down actually costs a lot more price to build one. Thus, the United Kingdom is looking for ways to utilize the power plant infrastructure in other industries. This is why UK believes it is better to use the nuclear technology to replace the use of fossil fuels. It is true that nuclear energy can show great efficiency when it comes to industrial aspects, along with the fact that it causes little pollution. The United Kingdom plans to use nuclear energy for animal production and health, among other industries. Nuclear energy has shown great efficiency in animal nutrition and production, using nuclear and molecular technology to identify the right and better variety of increased productivity. Nuclear energy is efficient compared to other energy sources. 1 gram of uranium is equivalent to 3 tons of coal and 10 drums of oil. In other words, instead of 3 tons of truck, the same amount of energy was obtained from less than a bean fuel. The discovery of nuclear power was a turning point in human history. The United Kingdom is expecting great growth in the biological industry by using this technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of United Kingdom. You may be seated. Now that the committee is done with the opening speeches, we will now open the general speakers list. The general speakers list allows delegates to elaborate or add on to their opening speeches and introduce core ideas. The quality of the resolution that this committee will produce will be greatly influenced by how the delegates decide to use their time on the general speakers list. That being said, delegates that would like to be added to the general speakers list, please raise your placards high. Yes, delegate of Saudi Arabia, you have been recognized. And delegate of United States of America, you have been recognized. And delegate of Korea, you have been recognized. And Germany and Sweden in that order. Are there any other delegates wishing to be added? Seeing none, the general speakers list is now closed with the delegate of Saudi Arabia, USA, Republic of Korea, Germany, and Sweden in that order. That being said, delegate of Saudi Arabia, please approach the podium. You may now begin.
This delegate would like to emphasize that by establishing various institutions and signing treaties, she can promise more active participation in the peaceful use of nuclear energy. However, as a country that has been developing fossil fuels for decades, Saudi Arabia still lacks the skills to develop nuclear energy and do not have the infrastructure to build nuclear power plants. Regarding this, Saudi Arabia would like to request for first world countries to support the transition to nuclear energy. Utilize countries' resources, Saudi Arabia is willing to provide countries with fossil fuel in exchange for aid. Nuclear energy is regarded as an alternative to fossil fuels in the world. However, there are still a lot of risks to the instability of nuclear energy and its peaceful use. Without international cooperation, these problems cannot be solved. This delegate's stance is that other countries' support for the development of nuclear energy and the reinforcement of the NPT treaty can make him contribute to the peaceful use and development of nuclear energy. Although this country still lacks nuclear energy development technology, if we promise to support and strengthen the NPT treaty, this delegate will do its best to make safer and the peaceful use of nuclear energy. He also promises to provide full support to the UN for its active use and development of nuclear energy. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. You may now be seated. Next, delegate of USA, please approach the podium. You may now begin.
This